Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to some realistic expectations regarding the massive battle rating changes that Gaijin has announced. You will find the link to this forum post in the video description below, and I will not talk through every change. However, I will point out certain changes and if I like them or dislike them. The majority of changes are good, and they are a right step in the right direction. First of all, let's talk a little bit about aircraft, and immediately we can see that certain aircraft got up-tiered throughout the board, especially those Spitfires. Hell yes, thank you Gaijin. Then we also saw that all the Focke-Wulf 190s, the D variants, get their battle rating lowered, rightfully so. But I think that the problem here is how the flight models work out. I'm talking here about the instructor, I'm talking here about the also the gun performance to a certain degree, at least at the moment. Again, this is something that changes within the patches, so this is not a ultimate statement. And I also agree that, for example, the Bf-110 C4 and the German and the Japanese Bf-109 E7 and E4 get their battle rating increased by 0.3 because they are very powerful planes at their battle rating. So no changes to the Bf-109 G series, which is surprising. Furthermore, we saw that many other planes get adjusted. For example, the A7M1 get its battle rating increased from 4.3 to 4.7, which is good, which is really good. And yeah, I'm not talking here about arcade, I'm just talking here about realistic. Then we come to the tanks, and all the T-34-85 variants get up tiered by 0.3 from their specific battle rating at the moment. So the T-34-85 CIS-53 gets from 5.3 to 5.7, the D5T variant from 5.0 to 5.3. And this is where we come into the argumentation. I always said that it's kind of suspicious for me that the tank, the T-34-85, which was designed to counter the Tiger, 2 years later has a lower battle rating against the tank it was designed to counter. Alright? And we will see this later on. Now, before I get too much into tanks, I have to say this. The meta will drastically change, and I agree with the overwhelming majorities of changes. Some of them are a bit strange and not my personal favorite, but I see where Gaijin is going. This is definitely a step into the right direction. However, Gaijin has missed here the opportunity to do a really drastic change that would bring back more life into high tier gameplay. I'm constantly ranting about the compression that we have at lower battle rating and also at higher battle rating, especially tier 5 is, in my opinion, a mess. And while this patch changes something for the better, the big change that I hoped would come at some point isn't there. One of the reasons is, of course, that there are not enough tanks at higher tiers, which is a surprising statement. And I'm not talking here about the Japanese tech tree. So let's run through the changes. Again, the T-34-85s get a battle rating increase, all of them by 0.3. And then the T-34-57 variants, both the tech tree and the premium version, get a battle rating reduction. To be honest, I didn't see too many of them on the battlefields lately. The ASU-85 gets a battle rating reduction from 6.7 to 6.3, and I don't agree with that, but because basically what you had was here a long 88 on a light tank with a shell that performs very similar, with a still decent reload and the option to fire an heat shell with 300 millimeters of penetration. And now this has the same battle rating as the Jagdpanther, which does not get heat, and the APCR is, as we all know, useless. Then the KV-1 CIS-5, the KV-1E and the KV-85, all of them get a battle rating reduction by 0.3. I'm not quite sure. I had no problems, you know, working with them. Then we come to the big change, and that is respectively the IS-2, which gets from 6.0 to 5.7. So it has a bigger gun with more penetration, with more high explosive filler, and the tank has more armor, but it's the same battle rating as the Tiger. I guess we have to deal with that from now on. Then there is the big change that I don't agree with, and where it really comes apparent that Gaijin makes practically the right decision, but missed the chance by the big change, and that is the IS-2 Mod 1944. First of all, the community has complained about the BR-471D round, the post-war shell. It gets removed on the IS-2 Mod 1944 and the premium version, the Revenge version as well. Good, and for that the battle rating gets reduced to 6.3, which is the logical consequence. That is the right thing, but here comes the thing that really I have to disagree with. First of all, the IS-2 doesn't have a APCR or heat alternative, and so it relies purely on this APHE shell. Now it's at a massive drawback because the post-war shell actually was able to punch through the lower plate of any King Tiger variant and go through the transmission and one-shot the King Tiger if it is not angled. And it obviously can penetrate the turret. So that means that now the BR-471B is your highest penetrating round, which you still can penetrate the mouse, believe me that. So, what am I complaining here about? Well, I don't think that an IS-2 Mod 1944 at 6.3 is nice to see. I'd rather have it stay at 6.7 and all the tanks around this tank throughout all the nations should get a battle rating increase, and that has not happened. So the constant, this is here a solution by compression, which nobody agrees with. The IS-2 Mod 1944 is a good tank, but I see that it struggles against the King Tiger and recently the T-29 spam. So, in this respect, I think the change within the current boundaries of the battle rating meta is good. Alright, so the shell gets removed and its battle rating gets lowered. I agree with that in this respect, but you know, this could have been the spark for a massive change, and Gaijin has not done this, which is a shame. Then the Panther 2, no, first of all the IS-2 gets a battle rating reduction, I'm okay with that. ISU-152 changes place in the tech tree and gets a battle rating reduction, I agree with that. Those Soviet tank destroyers, the ISU and IS series, or the SU series, I don't like them too much. There are some nice amongst them, the ISU 85s and also the SU-100. Those are really nice tanks, but those high caliber ones with the 122mm and the 152mm, they were not really nice to drive even in arcade, or especially in arcade. Then the same goes for realistic, of course. Then the Tiger E gets a battle rating reduction from 6.0 to 5.7. Yes, please, because it was a bit unfair that the Japanese Tiger E, which the heavy tank number 6 is practically, has a lower battle rating with being the same tank. And yes, I liked the Tiger E more than the Tiger H1 because of its much better performance, and also better gun traverse speed, better gun handling, and also APCR, which makes sense on the Tiger E when you have to face King Tigers in arcade, because that's your only realistic option to penetrate the King Tiger, the Henschel variant, from the front. Talking about King Tigers, yeah, they should have increased the battle rating of those, as long as all the other tanks would have increased as well by 0.6. So again, I have to point it out, the option or the chance for a massive decompression was missed. But let's move on. The Panther 2, 6.7 to 7.0. Yeah. See, this is the problem. This is not just an increase from 0.3 in battle rating, but it's practically... So, the Panther 2 is a very powerful tank, let's put it that way, okay? It is one of the most beloved tanks, and many people don't like to fight against it, although its armor is not what really shines out, especially when we compare it to the Russian variant, the T-44-100, which is an absolute monstrosity and is now at the same battle rating. Again, here I agree that the Panther 2 shouldn't ruffle stomp lower battle rating vehicles like it does, but up tiering it, you know, this is done getting it from a good position into a nightmare, because now it has to face a lot of T-54s more often, and this is something I hate. Then, a nice change, the Kugelblitz and the Coelian do not only change their battle rating or switch their battle rating. The Kugelblitz goes from 6.7 to 7.0 and the Coelian goes from 7.0 to 6.7, which is good, and finally we get this change. But also they switch positions in the tech tree, which is a good thing as well, according to their actual performance. However, the Kugelblitz suffers a lot now. Why? It saw a recent nerf in terms of its belt and now gets a battle rating increase. Is it too much? We will see. Then the Jumbo Sherman together with the Cobra King, battle rating reduction. Yes, please. And now it will not face too many T-34s, 85s as much as it does at the moment. And then we come to one of those tanks that I always... Yeah, I was actually okay with this tank being buried in the battle rating, the T-32. It gets its battle rating lowered from 7.3, where it is not really a nice tank, to 7.0. Oh boy. So the Panther 2 and the T-32 now have the same battle rating. The problem with the T-32 is that it is exactly that tank that can hold down an entire enemy advance. The T-32 was always kind of all about the turret armor and the long 90mm. The problem is the long 90mm has this disastrously long reload, which is just absurdly long, to be honest, due to its two-staged ammunition, I guess, and doesn't even bring the penetration of the long 88, but has a much higher battle rating and gets punished for its turret armor. But the turret armor can really break games, because there is nothing that can penetrate the turret armor. There is nothing except the Type 61, when it's fully upgraded, can pierce the turret front of the T-32. There is always the funny gag that people say, yeah, you can shot trap it. Yeah, you can. It's also possible to destroy a T-10M with a 20mm shell. How realistic is it? Especially at mid to long range. But let's continue. Then we see the VK4501P battle rating reduction. Yes, please, from 5.7 to 5.3. Panzerbefehlswagen 6P from 6.0 to 5.7. Yes, please, still not worth the money, end of discussion. Then the Hellcats, the M80 GMC and the premium version, the Black Cat, get a battle rating increase from 5.0 to 5.3. Thank the gods. And then the M36 GMC battle rating reduction by actually quite a bit, from 6.3 to 5.7. Let me talk to you, or let me tell you why this is a good thing. The M36 GMC is practically the same vehicle in appearance and to a lot of degree to the stats as well, to the Super Hellcat, which has also a 6.3 battle rating. But the Super Hellcat effectively on the battlefield outclasses the M36 by so much, it was just absurd that the M36 has the same battle rating. So 5.7 really is fair in this respect. Talking about battle rating reductions which are fair, Jagdpanzer für 5, hello my old friends, 7.7 to 7.3. Aha! So I was right about this vehicle being not very competitive. Raketenjagdpanzer 2 from 7.7 to 8.0 and Raketenjagdpanzer 2 Hot from 8.0 to 8.3. Yes, please, please, please up tier all those ATGMs. Yes, it's a good change. I don't really care about ATGMs, to be honest. I just think they are disgusting. That's my personal opinion, so yeah. And they have, you see, about ATGMs, they have their rockets, all of them with the exception of the M551 Sheridan. They have a very high penetrating, very damaging heat shell in shape of a rocket from the first battle onward, which has also not the need for accuracy up modules as far as I tested them so far. So yes, that's just fair for the rest of the normal tanks that have to grind through their shells. Then the PT-76B from 5.7 to 5.3. Okay, this tank is not really that much of a problem. Firefly Scorpion and the Sherman Firefly both get a battle rating reduction from 5.0 to 4.7. Again, they get kind of lowered and the T-3485s gets up-tiered. So you will not face T-3485s that often anymore. And then we come to a very big problem, and that is the Conqueror Mark II from 7.7 to 7.3. I did not think that this tank was a very good heavy tank at its battle rating. And letting it down tier now is also a big problem. I just want to make it short. I don't agree with this change because now it has the same battle rating as the IS-3, and the IS-3 cannot really do much against a hull-down Conqueror Mark II. That's just fact, because the Conqueror Mark II was specifically designed to counter the IS-3 threat. And we have the same with the T-3485 and the Tiger, so I cannot really say, okay, it's okay in this case and not okay in the other case, okay? And the problem is, the Conqueror is not the best tank in the comparison at its battle rating, so all the other tanks should get a battle rating increase, alright? And it should stay at 7.7. That's my opinion. That would have been my solution, but okay. Then the STA-1 and the STA-2, those strange Japanese tanks, go from 6.7 or 7.0 respectively to 6.3, both of them. Yes! Yes, Gaijin! Yes! I mean, those tanks were completely obsolete. I mean, who that was responsible for the initial battle ratings thought it would be funny to give the STA-2 the battle rating of the T-44-100 that outclasses it in every respect? So 6.3 I think is so much better for this tank, and I hope also the module costs will be reduced, so it's a good thing that I did not waste too much time trying to spade it. The STA-1, yeah, I did a tank review and it is still valuable, I think. Type 61, that's the last tank we talk about. 7.3 to 7.0. Yes, that's a good change, but now it kind of shows that this tank has now the same battle rating as the Panther II and the T-44-100. So it trades practically the armor for getting a heat shell in terms of balance, but you have to upgrade to that heat shell, but it's just a tier 2 upgrade, unlike on the patents, which now again are the stinkers in the tier 5 medium tank line again. So I think in this respect it's a good change, but I really wonder why the patents have not been lowered or their upgrade wave wasn't changed. I guess, you know, too many golden eagles have run down the pockets of certain developers. So I think overall the changes are good, they are awesome, I agree with them, but Gaijin had here the chance to really change even more, and that has not been done. And I guess it has to do with that it would have been too much rework. Maybe the battle ratings of the tanks are somehow bound to planes, so that people think, okay, the King Tigers should fly with Me-262s, you know, the Sturmvogel variant, and so on. So maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's just too much work. Maybe Gaijin does, for some bizarre reason that we don't know it, doesn't want that to happen. Again, overall the changes are good. I like them. They will bring back more balance, more fairness, and I think it seems from what the changes look like, Gaijin has listened to the community. So thumbs up for that, Gaijin. That is the right way. So I give it like 8 out of 10. That's what I give this battle rating change. So that's it for me today. I hope you liked the video. If so, please give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and let me know in the comment section what you think about those changes. That's it for me today, and we will see each other in the skies, on the battlefields, and on the oceans of War Thunder.